Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the melee weapon, Argo Vel. So in this weapon series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test that weapon on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors that would increase weapon performance. That would be things like Warframes using abilities, pets putting statuses on enemies, things like that. I just test the weapon built out by itself, and I let the viewer make their own intelligent conclusions about what would happen if you add those external things. Now, the only difference when I do a melee video is that I do use one external, and that is a pet putting statuses on enemies. And it's because almost every melee build is going to use a mod called Condition Overload, and Condition Overload requires you to be priming enemies. And so just to remove any of like the human factor of priming, that way my melee videos are consistent throughout all of them, I use a pet to prime for me. All right, so the Argo Vel was suggested by commenter Casey. So that's why we're doing it today. It's a really good weapon too, actually. I actually had this weapon built out previously because I really liked it. And it went with my Harrow fashion frame. Because my Harrow kind of looks like an angel, like a Crusader kind of angel looking guy. And it was perfect with my Harrow fashion frame. You know, that's, of course, the most important thing is fashion frame. All right, we have the top commenter of the last video, Petty Peoples 941. And we have the first commenter of the last video, Vid DDDD 8769. All right, let's get into the Argo Vel here. Yeah, look at this thing. It's pretty cool looking. It's a mace and a shield. And it has very high slash values. You know, if I know you guys think your scythes and your claws, you know, DE should be giving them high slash values, but no. DE believes that a mace and a shield should have the highest slash values. So yeah, let's get into this Argo Vel here. All right, interesting things about the Argo Vel. First, we'll just go over shields in general. So when you block, you're going to get this like little buff that you do more damage when you attack after you've blocked. It's not super consistent. Like sometimes I see that buff fall off or like reduce sometimes or not come up at times. So it's kind of weird, but that's something that shields are able to do. For this weapon, blocking also staggers ranged enemies. Maybe melee too. I didn't test melee enemies. Probably. If it staggers range, it probably staggers melee as well. But it staggers ranged enemies. And that is not true for the other shields. So this one that's specific to the Argo Vel. Okay. Then we go over the stats here. The stats are going to be, it has a very high slash weighting. So it normally just does slash and impact. But as you can see here, the slash is very, very high. So you're going to get a lot of slashes. Even with us putting electric on the weapon, slash is still the highest, which is actually perfect. The heavy attack for this weapon is going to throw your shield like your Captain America, of course. And it can bounce one time. So if you hit a enemy, it can bounce to another enemy. And there's like a little tiny AoE for it as well. Very small, not like a normal glaive, like kind of a small little area. So that's really cool. I always check like forums to see if there's any hidden things. There was something that people were like discussing and arguing on one of the forums about Condition Overload not working for the heavy attack, like the thrown glaive for it. And on my personal testing, it does seem to work. So maybe that was patched and it's working now, but it does seem to work with the thrown attack. All right, I think that's pretty much it for the unique stuff. What is this here? Heavy attack shoots a glaive that ricochets once. We already know that. Hey, I like to think of it as the shield, not a glaive, right? You throw your shield like you're Captain America. Okay, so for mods, we're going to start with Voltaic Strike. We're going to be having electric on this weapon. Now, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to the arcane, and that's going to explain the reason we have electric on the weapon, and it's because we're going to be using melee influence. So 20% chance for an elemental melee status effect to apply to enemies within 20 meters for 18 seconds. So we're able to spread status all over the place. On my testing, melee influence is very hard to beat. There's like one arcane that comes kind of close to it, and that's melee exposure, because melee exposure you get free corrosive, which is really nice. Corrosive I actually think is better than electric, But you don't just get electric, you spread it all over the friggin' place with melee influence. And that's why melee influence is really, really hard to beat for a melee arcane. Alright, so that's the reason we have Voltaic Strike on there. We're going to go Sacrificial Steel for crit chance. Organ Shatter for critical damage. Gladiator Might for 60% critical damage. And with a full combo multiplier, it's also going to be giving us 120% melee critical chance. Condition Overload is going to give us flat damage per unique status affecting the target. I'm going to be using my Dirigid Prime. Now, I'm not going to go over my Dirigid because I've already made a video on it. It was about 3 or 4 months ago, so you might have to kind of look that up in my list if you want to take a look at that. But my Dirigid produces 6 to 8 statuses on enemies around me, like, very consistently. So 6 to 8 times 80% melee damage is a lot of flat damage. Berserker Fury is going to be our attack speed mod. This is going to increase our attack speed by 70%. This is important because the Argo Vel is kind of slow. We'll go over the stances and we'll go over like the attacks on this, and they're all kind of slow, and so you really, well, you really need attack speed. I would even go as far as to say I never do my builds with a Riven, but if you get a Riven, I feel like if you got attack speed, you wouldn't just put it over Berserker Fury. Like I feel like you would put it over something else so you can get more attack speed with Berserker Fury. Because attack speed is, yeah, this weapon just needs it. Let's just say that. All right. In the next 2 slots here, we're going to have our stacking with combo multiplier mod. So we're going to have Blood Rush, which is going to increase our critical chance stacking with combo multiplier. And Weeping Wounds, which is going to increase our status chance stacking with combo multiplier. Which is great, because we have high slash values. So that's going to mean a crap load of slashes. In the stance slot, it's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to personal preference here. I'm going to go over the stances. I'll explain like what has forced procs, what seems to be the highest multipliers in them. But at the end of the day, you have to like the stance that you're using. And so I'll show both stances. Let me go to stance so I can just explain the 2 different ones, or just show them, I should say, right now. So we have Final Harbinger, and we have 11th Storm. So you should check them both out, and then pick which one you like. But when we get to the stance part, I'll try to explain them a little bit more in detail. Okay, and in the Tennokai slot, Dreamer's Wrath is going to be the highest DPS Tennokai mod. However, I am a little bit of an older dude who doesn't have great reaction time, and if you're a dude like me who's a little bit older and doesn't have great reaction time, Opportunity's Reach is really, really nice because you get 4 seconds to press your Tennokai button. I probably should be starting to use Opportunity's Reach myself because I feel like I waste a lot of my Tennokais. And in fact, I waste a lot of my combos because I press it too late and then I end up wasting combo. So, I mean, because of my reaction time, I should probably start using Opportunity's Reach. So not only do you get that 4 seconds to press it, but you actually get more melee range too. So it's not just for old dudes. Like, you could also make the argument that plus 3 meter range is also really nice for it. But if you are good on your reaction time, Dreamer's Wrath is going to be the best. It's going to let you Tennokai more often, and it's going to increase your crit damage of your Tennokai by a lot. Which is great, because this has an above-average critical multiplier. Okay, so that is it for the Argo Vel build. That's how you build the Argo Vel out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the Simulacrum, and I'm going to show off the stances. So we're going to have 2 stances, 11th Storm and Final Harbinger. I think we'll start with Final Harbinger first because that's the one I have on currently. I really wish they would add the Simulacrum to your Orbiter. Like, it's just an easy way to get there instead of having to go through multiple loading screens. That's something I just wish would have been added a while ago. Okay, so let me just double check that I have Final Harbinger on, and we'll go over it here. All right, Final Harbinger is on. Okay, so we're looking at Final Harbinger first. We're going to look at the forward light. So this is walking forward and holding E. Pretty nice. I like it. A lot of swirly attacks. I love the swirlies because it means it hits everything around you. Okay, we're going to do the neutral light. Not a big fan of that. The first two hits are kind of like, you know, they'll hit multiple targets in front of you, but everything else is like almost a single target hit, which I really, really don't like. Okay, now we're going to go over the forward block. So you hold block. Look at this too. Look, when you block with the Argo Vel, you get this little like energy shield. Oh my goodness, it looks so amazing. That's why it went really well with my Harrow. So you're going to hold block and you're going to move forward while pressing E. This is nice, although it's very slow. Like it has that period in between where there's not a lot going on. So it starts with that slam, then there's not really much going on here. Then it goes into the twirly. All right, let me stop there. So I like it, but there's a period in between where you're not really doing much. Okay, now we're going to do the block where you're not moving forward. So you block, don't move forward, and press E. I don't like that too much. You're kind of just breakdancing on the floor, and then you give a shield bash. Alrighty. Now, let me explain what has forced procs and what doesn't, and what has good multipliers. So for Final Harbinger, the neutral lights first and third have forced slash procs. Okay, so the neutral light is this one here, and it's going to be the first and the third attack. This is the one I really didn't like, because like the first two hits, they'll hit things around you, but then everything else is almost like a single target hit. So even though this has forced slash procs, I don't know if it's worth it. You're going to get a lot of natural slash procs by just your status chance, so I don't feel like spamming this attack might be worth it. All right, Final Harbinger, the attacks that have really good not crit multipliers, I'm sorry. The attacks that have really good just damage multipliers are going to be the neutral light, the one I just showed you that we don't really like too much, and the neutral block. And we'll go over the neutral block here. That's the breakdancing one. Oh my goodness, I really don't want to have to spam this thing. I know it has the higher damage multiplier, but I don't really see myself doing this the entire game. Again, you have to like the stance, right? You have to like the stance. So out of all the attacks for this thing, I really like the forward light. It hits a lot of enemies around you. Although, you know, as far as like forced procs or like crazy damage multipliers, this is pretty normal. It doesn't really have any of those things. But I like this. And the other one I liked was the forward block, which again doesn't have any forced procs and doesn't have any crazy multipliers, but I kind of like this one. Minus the weird period in between where you're not really doing much. All right. All right, enough of that. Let's go over the second one here. Oh, I don't want to swap. Back. Argo and Vel up a grade. 11th Storm. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we're going to start with the forward light. Pretty decent. It's just 3 attacks that just get repeated. It's not 360, but they're all kind of like a slash in front of you, which will hit multiple targets. So I kind of like that. All right, we'll do the neutral light, so not moving forward and holding E. It's okay. It's not horrible. It's not horrible, but I kind of like the forward light a little bit better. Now we'll do the forward block attack. All right, I tested this one because I wanted to see like how wide the, you know, like when he spins forward, I wanted to see how wide that hitbox was, and it's not very wide. So you're not hitting a lot of targets with this moving forward thing. Because I thought this could be cool, like, oh, maybe I could just spam this. But the little like twirly attack doesn't really hit, it hits basically what's exactly in front of you, and that's it. Okay, and now the neutral block, so not moving forward and pressing E while blocking. Just does that over and over. Okay, now we'll go over the attacks on the 11th Storm that have forced slash, which is going to be the neutral light's 4th attack. So not moving forward is the neutral light, and it's going to be the 4th attack of it. So 1, 2, 3. I think it's that one. Yeah, it's the one where he has like the 2 slashes. So bam, 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 slash, slash. That's the forced slash, and then the shield bash. That's okay. That's okay. I could maybe see myself spamming that, maybe. Again, you know, just for a force slash, we're going to be producing probably 10 times more natural slashes. So I don't know that I would force myself to do that just for the force slash. All right, now the attacks that have above average damage multipliers is going to be the neutral light and the forward block. So neutral light, I believe that's the one we just looked at, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's okay. It has a force slash and it has the above average damage multipliers. And then the forward block, which was the twirly one. Yeah. You know, I'm not a big fan of any of those attacks that that have that. I'm actually probably just going to go with the Final Harbinger's light attack, like forward light, which doesn't have any of like the above average damage multipliers or force slashes. But it's up to you. Maybe you do like going with some of those attacks. So just try them for yourself. And you have to like your stance. You have to enjoy and like your stance. Don't use it just because of a single force slash when you're going to be producing 10 naturals anyway. All right, so that should be... oh, and let me show the heavy attack. Let me spawn an enemy in. Let me pause AI. I'm going to spawn an enemy in, and we're going to show this heavy attack off. He's going to throw it, and it's going to ping off of one dude. So it hits one guy, and it's going to ping and hit another guy. And it has a little bit of blast. That's why it hit a few dudes, I think. Not a big... I shouldn't say blast, because it's not actually the blast status. But it has a little bit of a radius, but it's like it's kind of small. Like I don't think it'll hit the guy behind him. Maybe a little bit. So... that's that one. And then I also want to show that the unique thing where this can stagger enemies. So let me turn the AI on. And these guys have horrible aim, so I kind of have to like go up to them. But you see, if they try to shoot me and I'm blocking, doesn't help my Dirija is doing some stuff too. He's staggering himself when he hits my shield. So that's pretty cool. That's unique to the Argo Vel. All right, let me get out of the simulacrum so we can start doing the gameplay here. All right, I believe I have everything on. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 10-minute Stale Path MOT mission. We're going to show how this weapon works, how it does. I'm, of course, not mixing it with any kind of external, so I don't have Archon shards and increased weapon performance. I don't have arcanes or mods on my Inaros that increase performance, nothing like that. And I'm not going to be using any abilities other than my 3. My 3 only gives me armor and status immunity. And I probably will forget to do that anyway. I always say, hey, I'll press my 3 once in a while, and then I never end up doing it anyway.
Life support has been cut off. They're trying to choke you out. Hold on. I'm sending auxiliary life support.
It's also important to know, too, that you can spend your Tennokai in a heavy slam, too. So if you don't feel like using that shield throw, you can spend it into a heavy slam. Like, you can do this. Bam. And once we're at maximum combo, we should be seeing all red crits. Except for the little electric procs. Those will be white. I like the Argo Vel. It's a very good weapon, and it looks really nice too. I mean, it's dependent on like what you're going for fashion frame, but if you're going for maybe some kind of like angelic thing, you could probably also make it into like a dark angel kind of look too. Because I have it as like white and gold, but I'm sure you could have it as like, you know, black and red or some kind of like dark appearance. You could change the energy color too. Of course, like pretty much everything. So do you see when I block how it's kind of white? You could change that as well. So if you want to have like more of a dark appearance. Ribbon stats for this weapon, I believe best stats are going to be crit damage, crit chance, attack speed probably, but you also kind of want range. The base range on this is 2.5, which is like... I like when their ranges are closer to 3. I like when the range is closer to 3. I didn't have enough room to put Prime Breach on this thing. So if you could get range in a ribbon, that would be nice. I don't know that range would beat out crit chance or crit damage, though. That's the thing. It would make it feel a lot nicer, but I don't think it would actually like beat out the actual damage output of crit chance, crit damage. Just because range is more of a utility thing. It could technically increase damage if dudes are outside of, you know, the base range. Which sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't. So yeah, crit chance, crit damage, attack speed, and range. Although you can only have 3 things on a ribbon, and you can't necessarily choose what's on your ribbon either. But if you had any of those 4 items, you should be super happy. Or at least 3 of those 4 items. If you have 2 or 3 of those 4 items, you should be super happy with your ribbon.
And I cannot be destroyed.
I guess electric wouldn't be bad either, because then that would... Oh, I just wasted my combo, didn't I? Oh, no, I didn't. Or then... I just did there. Oh, my goodness. I'm so stupid. I just wasted my combo. I thought I did, and then I repressed it, and then I actually did the second time. I need to switch to using that old man Tennokai mod, because my reflexes are not there anymore. The thing is, it's not super needed for this weapon, because the actual heavy attack is a throw, so it's not like you really need more range for it. Unless you want to just start, like, heavy slamming, I guess. But I'm just horrible with pressing the button, so the extra 4 seconds to press the button would be nice. So this will also bounce off of, like, floors and walls, the heavy attack. So even if you don't hit a target, it'll still bounce once and try to hit an enemy. So, even if there's nothing in front of you, if you just want to, like, throw it against the wall, maybe it'll find a target by itself, you can do that. Of course, if you have an actual target, you should try to shoot at the target, or hit the target.
Extraction is available if you need it.
Let me try to mix some of these attacks in. This is the one I like, but it had, like, some weird downtime in between. It's that in between. There's a slam, it's nice. The swirl is nice, but in between the slam and the swirl, he's like twiddling his thumbs, doing nothing. Ugh. That's the only reason I don't like that one. Like, otherwise I would use it. Four minutes left. Oh, what was I saying? I was saying electric could be nice in the ribbon too. Just because that would give you an easy spot to put your ribbon. Like, otherwise you would have to really decide, like, alright, well, where the hell am I going to put my ribbon? Am I going to put it over Weeping Wounds? Am I going to put it over Organ Shatter? It would probably either be Weeping Wounds or Organ Shatter. Probably Weeping Wounds. But if electric was on your ribbon, that's easy. That's an easy choice then. You just put it over the current electric mod, and then you bank on all the other ribbon stats. So, electric on your ribbon is not necessarily like powerful, but it makes it easy to pick what slot you're actually putting it over. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? I think so. I think it does. Like, I don't think you would purposely try to get electric on your ribbon, but if you had electric on your ribbon with some of those other good ones, I think it would be really good, because that would just make it easy to know where to put it. Because of course you don't need 2 electric mods, you just need 1 to make melee influence work. There's some forced impact procs also on the on like the combos. I didn't go over the forced impact procs because those are usually not as important. But just keep that in mind. I really just went over the forced slashes and the combos that I think have the best damage multipliers. You could check all this on the wiki though. You could just type in Final Harbinger or 11th Storm, and it actually has all the damage multipliers on all of the attacks. So, because there's a little bit of subjectivity to that too. It's like, you know, this one attack, the damage multiplier is 5 times or 500%. But it attacks once, and this other attack is 100%, but it attacks 5 times. It's like, okay. So check yourself. Maybe, you know, you think a different attack has a better multiplier than the ones I said. But again, at the end of the day, you have to like your stance. So it really is going to come down to what do you feel comfortable actually spamming. Me, I like the forward lights in most stances, unless it has like a really good other attack. Like this thing right here. Oh, if that didn't have that weird middle spot, I would use it. What the hell is he doing? After the slam, he's just doing some weird shit. Oh no, Doridge is down. Doridge will get back up. He gets knocked down, but he gets up again. Alright, 10 minutes, 1,033 kills, which means it beat the Ghoul Saw. That's important. That's important. That's what we're basing all the melee weapons on now, is did it beat the Ghoul Saw? And this one did, 1,033. I think it actually came like pretty much almost exactly to where the Paracesis was. I think the Paracesis was also like very similar to this. Okay, let's head to Extraction. Oh, it was upstairs.
And so we learn the importance of clarity and purpose.
Yeah, I really like the Argo Vel. The fashion frame potential is through the roof. Through the roof. I would suggest it just for the fashion frame. Even if it was garbage, I would suggest it for the fashion frame. But it's not garbage. It's a, of course, everyone knows maces and shields, high slash damage. That's the first thing that comes to your mind. So DE was spot on for that. So yeah, that's the Argo Vel. Thanks for the suggestion, Casey. We got that one done. If you guys liked it, consider giving it a like. If you haven't subbed yet, consider subbing or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. And you guys have an amazing day. Bye.